Good morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here, and I thought that I would tell you a story today. I think you'll like it. It's probably one of my, other than just direct family memories, it's probably the most favorite memory I have in my entire life. I was a young veterinarian, married. My wife had a baby, our daughter, a few days after Christmas. I was very happy, proud. I sent a dozen red roses to her, mission accomplished, well done. Went up to visit. I'm kind of just putzing around, looking at things, and I kind of noticed that in the bouquet of flowers there's only 11 roses. So later on when I get home, I call the florist because we didn't have cell phones at the time, had to wait to get to a landline. And I say, hey, there was only 11 roses in that bouquet. And they said, well, we're so sorry, we'll get right on that, we'll fix that for you, don't worry. So I don't think too much of it. And I go back to visit my wife, and she's packing her things up, and they had a very busy time in the hospital, and they needed space, and she had no complications, so they released her early. So we went home and started our family. Well, at the end of the month, the bill arrives from the florist, and I look at it. I very meticulously strike out the 12 on the roses and put 11, and then deduct 1/12 of the cost, and then make a check out and send that to them. So I don't think anything more of it, and we just get into the routine of being a little family. Well, about 6 months later in the summer, I'm in the office doing small animal appointments, and there is a elderly gentleman, a Mr. Jackson, who comes in for some dog shots. Now, for the purpose of this video, we're going to say, and my kids are saying, don't give your identity. We're going to say that I'm Dr. Jackson, that we have the same name. So this is not unusual for this place. In my original hometown, we were the only Jacksons in the whole town. And then when I moved to this small town, there was a woman, Mrs. Jackson, who had 12 sons. And there were a huge number of Jacksons in this town, so it's not unusual. So I make small talk with the elderly gentleman and give his dog the shot. And then he says, you aren't the Dr. Jackson whose wife had a baby around Christmas time? And I said, yeah, that was me. Had a little daughter. And he says, and you probably sent her some roses, no doubt. And I said, well, yes. And I thought, a little unusual he would know this. So he says, it took us a long time to find out, but it looks like we finally have. And I said, a long time to find out what? And he says, well, Christmas last year was a sad time for our family. Our mother was fading fast, and she didn't have much time left. And she was in the hospital, and the family was gathered around to be with her. But it was kind of a very sad time because she was pretty much out of it and incoherent and didn't know any of us, and it was just kind of very sad. But a single red rose addressed to Mrs. Jackson was delivered to her room. And she saw that rose, and she became very animated and lucid. And she loved that rose, and we had all forgotten her great love of her rose garden. All through her life, she would tend her roses. And she was able to talk to us all. She was able to give us a kiss and a hug and say goodbye. And then she passed away. He said none of us had sent the rose. We didn't know where it came from. But it was such a nice thing for the family that we determined to find out, and we have. And we just wanted to say on behalf of the family, thank you for that rose. And so Mr. Jackson leaves the office, and I'm kind of choked up just a little bit, and finish my appointments early, and I run down to the florist, and I tell him the story, and I took my wallet out and passed some money across the counter and said, I owe you for a rose. And the young lady says, well, it really didn't get to the right person. And I said, oh, it got to precisely the right person. And so it was a little, every Christmas, my daughter's birthday, I think about the rose. And it's almost a little bit of a validation because sometimes we all have our little idiosyncrasies, and I'm a little picky on things and always want the slate to be pretty even, with the 12 roses. No, it's 11 and that. And a lot of people probably wouldn't have even counted the roses, and if they had, they wouldn't have made an issue out of paying for it, but I'm just that type of person, and sometimes I wonder if I should be different and better, but this was kind of the universe's way of saying that, Steve, it's all right to be the way that you are, because it allowed all of this to unfold as the universe wanted it to unfold. And I think in our lives we all cross paths with people, and we might affect those lives in ways we never know. A kind word, a smile, something that just makes it nice to be human. And I was extremely lucky in that the little pebble dropped in the lake, and my pebble being, checking up on the rose, that the ripple effect of this had such a positive impact on so many lives. And so it gives me a little faith and confidence in humanity, and a little awe and inspiration from this great cosmic justice and karma that seems to be out there. So that's my story of the rose. I hope you like it. I hope you're enjoying a beautiful Sunday day too, and kind of put a few of our immediate woes behind us for a short period of time and just smile, let a little sun on your face.